coughing, sore throat and fatigue, you know, like tiredness and thing. Some may go through some shortness of breath. But the symptoms can be different, from very mild, like a little cold, to pneumonia. Some people will recover easily, while others, they go get sick. Fast. Now, Harata, let me make you understand something. Yeah, I's a virus and all. But guys, all I do is minding my own business. I just cooling out there. A lot of them human beings just ignorant and stupid. They have legit information out there on how to protect themselves from me, you know. Like the World Health Organization. You're getting proper info. But them humans prefer to go on with gossip and all kind of comments from their friends on social media and all kind of things. So
Facebook is life.
It's their own ignorance that helping me spread gas. All I do in there is schooling out there, you know, minding my own business. Another thing too,
black people can't get that.
Some of them humans just nasty and they want to follow good hygiene practices. Is nasty, they nasty. Simple things, you know, like covering your cough and sneeze with your elbow or a tissue, disposing of the tissue properly, washing your hands often with soap and water, including before and after eating and after using the toilet, using alcohol-based hand sanitizers, cleaning and disinfecting areas. If you are sick, avoiding contact with others and staying more than 1.5 meters away from people, cleaning and sanitizing frequently used objects such as your phone, your keys, and your wallet.
Interesting stuff here.
I done yet. Them humans have no kind of consideration for each other. I have to tell you all that you have to stay home when you are not well. Avoid large public gatherings if they're not essential. Minimizing physical contact, especially with people at a higher risk, such as older people and people with pre-existing health conditions.
Okay, seems like we have a call coming in. Hello?
Yeah, boy, Rona boy. I come for you.
Can you turn the volume down on your television, please? I'm getting some feedback.
Oh, Harry, just now. Let me. You know I like to hear my voice on the TV. Just now. Hold on. Yeah. Turn the volume down lower again for me, please. Yeah, Rona.
Me you come for? What seems to be your boggle, Gasa?
Is you that make me go and take loan in bank to buy 2 cases of hand sanitizer and 8 bale of toilet paper.
I buy my toilet
So
paper
who
too.
going to refund me my money? I spend how much money buying garlic and vitamin C and more toilet paper again? Who going to pay me back for that, Gasa?
Gasa, let me ask you something. When last you wash your hands?
But Gasa,
You there talking on a cell phone. When last you sanitize that?
I buy my toilet
You make
paper.
a choice to stay on a long line
Imagine me
and
telling
wait
me there.
and buy how much toilet paper.
The
Go and
world
wash
cannot
your
turn
hands,
without
Gasa.
toilet
Go and
paper,
bathe.
Gasa.
Nasty.
Unfortunately, it seems like we have run out of time. This has been Yesai Mekai, and to all the people out there, stay safe. This corona guy means business. Practice proper hygiene. Later.
Until your uncle be as the Gasa after the better visit. How the country look down? I lose my touch, man.
Oi, who thief my hand sanitizer there?
Awa, they knew what is sanitizer.
Is on.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of the National Emergency Operations Center COVID-19 briefing for the 2nd of June 2020. I am Les Roy Williams. I thank you very much for joining us for today's COVID-19 briefing. We continue to update you on information relevant to the management of the COVID-19 pandemic here in St. Kitts and Nevis. And we continue to update you, even in the midst of the political excitement that is in the air in the Federation, especially on the eve of a general elections on the 5th of June 2020. If you're joining us by radio or if you're joining us by television or social media, we thank you very much for staying tuned to this briefing for over, I think it has been over 2 months that we have been having this briefing. I would like to invite the Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, to give us the Health Emergency Operations Center COVID-19 Situation Report for St. Kitts and Nevis. Dr. Laws.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, and a pleasant good afternoon to everyone. This afternoon, it's my task to share with you the Health Emergency Operating Center Situation Report. As at about 2:30 this afternoon, the World Health Organization confirmed that there are approximately 6,194,533 confirmed cases of COVID-19 globally. And on the screen, you would see the figure at about the same time yesterday. So you would see the increase in just 24 hours. The total number of deaths stands at 376,320. And again, you would see the difference between yesterday's figures and today. Here in the Federation of St. Kitts, we have passed the 400 mark in terms of the number of persons who have been sampled and tested for COVID-19. So as at this afternoon, 402 persons would have been sampled and tested, 15 of which were confirmed positive and 387 samples returned negative. As we speak, there are no samples pending. At present, we have 4 persons quarantined at a government-designated quarantine site, and there are about 818 persons who would have been released from quarantine between the end of January this year to present. All 15 of our cases have fully recovered. So this afternoon, we are going to just speak a little bit about the World Health Organization. Now, the World Health Organization is that UN agency that's responsible or leading the response to this pandemic. It was the WHO itself who on March 11th characterized the COVID-19 outbreak as a pandemic. And since then, the WHO has been guiding the response to this pandemic globally. For example, the WHO provides us verified data. And so that's why most of the data we quote, we take it from the World Health Organization. Reason being, there is a mechanism, an international health regulations mechanism, whereby all countries, territories are expected to report all cases within 24 hours of diagnosis to the World Health Organization. And so the data, the WHO data is verified. The WHO has provided us with tools and resources to help us in responding to this outbreak. For example, the case definitions for suspected and probable cases, etc. And at present, they're even guiding the research work that's being done on this novel or new coronavirus. And so a few days ago, we learned that the President of the United States of America, Trump, he said that the United States will terminate its relationship with the World Health Organization. The US President has announced that he's terminating the country's relationship with WHO. Washington will redirect funds to other bodies, he said. Trump's criticism of the World Health Organization handling of the pandemic began last month when he threatened to permanently withdraw funding. The US is the Global Health Agency's largest single contributor, providing more than $400 million US dollars, which amounts to about 15% of its total budget. And so this is a significant cut in its budget, and we are hoping that the impact on its response to this pandemic isn't significantly materialized. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Laws, our Chief Medical Officer. I recognize among us the Honorable Wendy Phipps, Minister of State with responsibility for health. Welcome. I now invite Superintendent Cromwell Henry, Divisional Commander for District A, to give us his report. Superintendent.
Good afternoon, all, and thank you, Mr. Williams. I will start with the usual report on arrests over the last 24 hours. And as usual, I'm always pleased to report that there were no arrests for offenses under the emergency regulations over the last 24 hours. The total arrest to date, therefore, remains at 148. As I indicated on a previous occasion, trials for some of these cases are set at the Bastion Magistrate Court for June 8th. I would have raised the police concern about traffic accidents on a previous briefing. I wish to reiterate our position, having not seen a sufficient improvement in motorist behavior. The traffic department reported last week that they are investigating 20 traffic accidents which occurred just in the Bastia area alone. A good number of these accidents occurred around the time leading up to the curfew. This suggests that persons are staying on the road as close as possible to the curfew period, and then at the last moment they hurry home. We advise against this practice as it is dangerous. Persons tend to ignore the traffic regulations, all traffic rules, sometimes even common sense driving. We've seen persons running the red lights, some persons not giving way at roundabouts, at giveaway signs at the roundabouts. Others are failing to stop at stop signs, and others are speeding, exceeding the speed limit for the particular area. All these practices are dangerous and increases the risk of accidents. And in a lot of cases, accidents do happen which result in significant damage. We've had at least 2 lamp poles completely rooted out of the ground in accidents by persons speeding close to the curfew period. The most recent was a week ago on the F.T. Williams Highway, where the area was left without electricity for some time. We want to remind residents, in particular motorists, to give yourselves sufficient time to get home without having to drive in a dangerous manner, risking your lives as well as the lives of other road users, just to get home on time. We also remind businesses that they are required to close in a reasonable time so as to give your customers and your staff adequate time to get home ahead of the curfew period. We recommend 6 p.m. as a reasonable time for the larger businesses, supermarkets, etc., to close. And that includes gas stations, and 7 p.m. for the small village shops. The curfew begins at 8:01 p.m. and ends at 4:59 a.m. We want to remind residents that those persons who are out after the curfew time are required to have written exemptions from the Commissioner of Police, unless, of course, you are essential workers, in which case you must have ID to present to the police if you are stopped, or if you are going to the hospital in an emergency. Any other reason that you wish to be out, where you could not have obtained a written pass, you must call your nearest police station and seek permission from the police at the station. We want to again thank you for your cooperation this far and wish you all the best going forward. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Superintendent Henry. I now invite Mr. Abdias Samuel, Chair of the COVID-19 National Task Force and National Disaster Coordinator at NEMA, to address us. Mr. Samuel.
Thank you, Mr. Williams, for your gracious introduction. Good afternoon, all. Thank you for joining us via all means. And today we continue with our NEOC daily report. Before I begin, though, I wish to extend my condolences to the family who lost their loved one today. I kept emphasizing to everyone about your civic responsibilities during these times. We cannot, I must say, we cannot be unruly. We should not. It's just a season where we go through a political atmosphere. Everyone has a right, and we must respect each other. I am appealing to all political leaders in our federation to continue to sound the trumpet of peace for all of our citizens during this time. One life that is lost is one life too many. I continue today with the daily report. And John James, we are back to business with our slides, yeah? Okay. So we look at the particulars of the phone calls, and again we see that most calls received are those of prank calls. And I do hope that our citizens are becoming more wise. And I can tell you from personal experiences that when you make prank calls to departments such as the fire department and they have to rush to do their job or carry out their duties, it's difficult when they do so during such a rush, risking their lives, the lives of others. And when you reach there, it's just a laughter for someone. That is very dangerous. And it's a waste of very expensive and useful resources. Next slide, please. The task force continues its assessments of business being compliant, and I must congratulate all those businesses that were visited today for being 100% compliant. That is very commendable. From the particulars of distancing, markers being on the floor, and personal hygiene, that is good. So let's keep it up, and hopefully we can see the restrictions being lifted more and more each week. Right, so we continue with 100% compliance, and the particulars are outlined as you can see on your screen. The rum, well, just only one rum and bar shop, and I see it's 100%, so that means we are making progress. And all the personal hygienes, that's great. And we now move to the hurricane tip for today. Today I want to invite you or encourage you to do your written plan, not just a verbal plan, but a written plan, a guide that will give you the outcome of the desired action. What does that mean? That the plan will give the guidance for your family members, friends, whoever is occupying the home at a time of an impact, so that they can actually go to where you want them to go or do what is necessary for their safety and security. One of the things, as you see on your screen, that is being recommended, that you have photo documentation of your valuables. So sometimes if you have papers and you're able to secure them properly, then what you can do is have photos of those documents. Secondly, keeping your important document together is important so you can have quick access. So therefore, rather than having everything scattered all over the place, have them neatly secured so that it could be a quick grab and go. And also, it is important, having a plan just sitting there without anybody knowing what it is, it's baseless. It's important for you to have your plan developed, written, and have it shared with your family members or other persons occupying the property. That will ensure that everyone has the knowledge and understanding of what will be required of them during such emergencies. So I want to acknowledge Sandra for donating mango drink to the NEOC. I have not seen any, but I guess I will get my cup later. Thank you again for joining us. And again, please allow me to appeal to you. We are a few days away from a general election. I am asking all citizens, I am appealing to all political leaders for civility, for us to be civil in the way we conduct ourselves. Let us not put strain on our healthcare systems, our security forces, and by extension, your own family members. Be civil in your actions. That's all I am recommending to all of you. Thank you very much, Mr. Williams, and we look forward to the questions.
Should I say that I am happy to announce that there are no questions? I do know that Superintendent, when he comes to the podium, he says, I am happy to announce that there are no arrests. I do have, though, some announcements. The voters' list, apart from the usual places that they are posted, they can also be found on the SKNIS website at www.sknis.kn. So the voters list can be found on the SKNIS website at www.sknis.kn. Additionally, the supervisor of elections is appealing to residents to cease and desist from removing the voters' lists from where they are posted. It is an offense to remove the voters' lists when they are posted and from where they are posted. Thanks very much to our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Hazel Laws, for her report. And interestingly, she spoke a lot about Mr. Trump today. And thank you, Superintendent Cromwell Henry, Divisional Commander for District A, and Mr. Abdias Samuel, Chair of the COVID-19 National Task Force and NDC at NEMA. We also thank Honorable Wendy Phipps for her support, Minister of State with responsibility for health. We also thank Mrs. Christmas Jacobs for her continued service of sign language. We thank our Medical Chief of Staff, Dr. Cameron Wilkinson. The questions are getting fewer and fewer, but nonetheless, we still have the support here at the NEOC in case that somehow there's a resurrection of questions. Apparently at this time, people are more taken up with what is happening on the political scene. But nonetheless, the COVID pandemic is still with us. It hasn't gone anywhere. The elections are going to come and the elections are going to go, but the COVID-19 pandemic will still be with us. That much we know. And so therefore we have to continue to do all that we can to keep St. Kitts and Nevis safe and healthy from the pandemic. Thanks very much to the media, to ZIZ and to Open Interactive, and all who continue to partner with us in the dissemination of information to the public so that the public can be aware and well informed of how they are to behave, what they are to do in terms of protecting themselves, one another, and their families from becoming victim to the COVID-19 virus. Thank you very much for being with us today, as usual. And tomorrow we will be back for another COVID-19 briefing here at NEMA headquarters. Until then, please take care and continue to be safe. I am Les Roy Williams.
Is on.